Okay, so one of the recommended problems that I have you looking at in the back of the chapter is 2.4 in problem set A. So the instructions say the wages and the hours for 5 employees of McNeese Enterprises for the week ended July 7th is given below. And then where they are given is right here. So these are their hours worked, and that's provided for you in the problem. And then it says, employees work a standard of a 40-hour work week and are paid time and a half for all hours over 40. So again, they're going to have overtime if they work over 40 hours. And then they give us the regular hourly wage as well. So these two columns are given to us. Then it asks, for each employee, compute the regular earnings, the overtime rate, the overtime's earnings, and the gross earnings, and then total those up. So then that's what you can see is done in this Excel spreadsheet. These totals here are computed. Now if I look in these, if I click on there, it's telling you with the comment that you want to enter a formula which is 40 times the hourly rate. So if I look up in this box here, oh whoops, I'm sorry, now I've moved over. If I look up in this box here, it's 40 times the hourly rate, which is in cell F10. So you want to set it up in Excel. I'm going to ask you to do your case project at the end of the semester in Excel. So you might as well kind of get comfortable with how those formulas are set up now. Plus, as accounting majors, you are so going to use Excel when you get out in the workplace. So the more comfortable you get with it in school, the better off you will be. So then if we look at each one of these cells, though, you can see it's the exact same formula, except for it's moved down to row 11. Same thing here, it's going to move down to row 12, and then row 13, and then row 14. So Excel is going to do the work once you put those formulas in. Then your overtime rate, you're going to take your regular hourly rate, so that's the cell that's in F10, and then multiply that by 1.5 to get to the time and a half. So if we look at that formula, that's exactly what they have in there, and then it creates your overtime rate. And then each one is going to be the same thing, except for we're just moving down a row. Then our overtime earnings, it's going to be the hours over 40. So if we look back at this cell, it's going to be anything over 40. So if you look in the formula, you can see they've got E10, which is this cell here, minus the 40, then times the overtime rate. So then you set that up, and then each one of these is going to just be a row down. And when you click on that and you go like this, you can drag that down, and that formula should just repeat. So you don't even have to key it in every time. Like if you can get this top row correct, all you have to do is take it and drag it, and then it's going to copy it all the way down. So that's just another trick to save you some time. So then the total gross earnings are going to be the regular earnings, which is H10, plus the overtime earnings, which is L10, and then that's going to give us our total gross pay. So again, you can see that formula up there. So honestly, Excel is going to make it super easy once you kind of play around with it. Okay, then the next one that I assigned or wanted you to look at is not that one. Yes, actually it is that one. So 217. So 217A. So then we'll go over here. So 217A is piecework earnings. So the instructions say during the first week in November, Aaron Mills worked 45.5 hours and produced 1,275 units under a piece rate system. The regular piece rate is 45 cents a unit, and Mills is paid overtime for any overtime work under the piece rate system. So they want us to compute it. So if we come into these and say, okay, they're piecework earnings, if we look up in the cell, what it is it's the units she produced, 1,275, times the 45 cents a unit. So that's her piecework earnings. So then when we come to try to figure out what her hourly rate is, we take those earnings and we divide them by her total hours worked. So that's going to be the 45.5 because she worked 45.5 hours. So that gives us an hourly rate for that particular time period. So then the overtime rate is going to be, well, because I guess because we've already calculated the regular rate. So then this is just the premium. I feel like they should probably not call it the overhead hourly rate, but they should probably call it the overtime premium. So that's the half. So if we look at that formula there, it's the 0.5 times the hourly rate that we just calculated above. So she would get a premium for those hours. So then when we come down here, you'll see they're taking the 5.5 hours that she worked and multiplying it by that premium and then adding that. So again, the reason it's just the premium because this already calculated her, that included all 45.5 hours. So that pay there included all hours. This is just the halftime that is for the overtime premium. And then we just sum those two. So then that's how we calculate overhead when we've got a premium example. Okay, then my next one is 219. It'll be my last one in here. So 219 in problem set A says, Wendy Epstein is a sales representative and earns a salary of $29,500. She receives commission on that portion of her annual sales that exceeds $150,000. The commission rate is 8.5% on all sales up to $50,000 above the quota. Beyond that amount, she receives commission of 10%. Her total sales were $295,000. So then as we look at what's kind of mapped out here, her regular salary is given to us. That's the $29,500. So if you look up in that cell, there's no computations. It's simply a given number. But then this calculates her commission. So we've got, it says that the commission on sales up to $50,000 above the quota. So that would be from the $150,000 is the quota up to $200,000. So then so she is over the $200,000. So if we look in that formula, $200,000 is the threshold, $150,000 is the quota. So that $50,000 over, she's going to get 8.5%. So then they multiply that by the 0.085. So that's what this represents. Now she did have sales beyond the $200,000 because she had $295,000. So if we look in that formula, we take the $295,000 actual sales minus that $200,000 threshold. So that gives us $95,000, and we multiply that by the higher commission rate of 10%. So then she gets the $9,500. We add those two tiers of commission, and that gives us her total annual earnings. So those were the ones that I wanted you to look at that are worked out here in Excel.